All right, in this video, we are talking about writing an APA style results section using the Jamovi output. This should be sounding pretty familiar to you by now. I have some steps written out for you that are really similar to the t-test that we've covered before, but there's some kind of more specific information for this, the independent means t-test. And I'm going to walk you through these steps using the output that we've been working with, the example of the experiment of the better than average effect for the ratings of Redeemer students' religious attitudes. The first thing that we always do when we're writing an APA style results is to start with a section introducing the research question and explain what the researchers did. Usually this goes along with indicating the N in each sample group. So for here, I've written Dr. Good wanted to know if the better than average effect applied to Redeemer students' religious attitudes. Okay, that's like the research question. Now a bit about the methods and the procedures. I said for several semesters, she collected data from her stats students. She randomly assigned them to answer one of two questions, and then I wrote out the questions there. And also notice that I've put the N in brackets after each question, right? That's just my way of communicating what was the N in each group. And I noted the response scale that the questions were answered on. And I say if the better than average effect holds, students who rated their love should score higher on average than the students who answered that question for the average Redeemer student. Okay, that's the first part. Now we get into reporting some of the details. So you're reporting the mean and the standard deviations for both groups. And you're also reporting and interpreting the mean difference between the groups. All right, how do I do that? I say that the mean for the U group was 9.26, report the standard deviation, and the mean for the average student group was 7.29, and the standard deviation. And here's where I'm interpreting the difference. Say, therefore, the average rating of the students who answered about their own love was 1.97 points higher than the group who rated for the average students. So you might be wondering where we got the 1.97, right? And this is indicated here. It says report and interpret the mean difference between groups, which you can find on annotated output number 4. All right, if you go to your annotated output, you'll see that this mean difference here, right, that would be number 4, and that's 1.97. So it was 1.97 points higher for the U group. Right, so that's that part. And then we have the part where we have to say that we conducted an independent samples t-test, what the significance level was, and whether it was one or two-tailed. Also goes along with the description of the t-test results, reporting a couple of the key statistics in very specific order. Right, we have T, and then in brackets degrees of freedom. Then we have equals. We write out in our T statistic, our exact p-value. All right, so let's go and look at how we did this. And that is that there. So we're saying an independent means t-test was conducted on the difference between the sample means. It was one-tailed with a 5% significance level. And here's where we report we have T. In brackets is our degrees of freedom, right? That's degrees of freedom. And we have equals 7.96. So this is where we report our T statistic. T statistic is here, put that in there. And finally, our p-value, which we have here. And after that, it says we have to describe whether the sample means were significantly different and which group was higher or lower. This is what we're doing here. When I say, therefore, the U group's rating was significantly higher than the average student group. And so if we had not significant results, then you'd say, like, therefore, the U group was not significantly higher than the average student group, right? But our results were significant, so it is significantly higher. And now we say that our results are illustrated in figure 1. And so this is where at the end of the write-up, after the write-up, we have our figure. We want to bold the title. We have our descriptive title below, and now we have our figure that illustrates that the U group was higher than the average student group. And then we have our last part, which is reporting the effect size and whether it was small, medium, or large, followed by making some kind of concluding statement, indicating if the assumptions were met and if they were violated, just stating that the test is robust to violations, and you're proceeding. And you're commenting on the statistical power. We're using J-power here because we're using Jamovi. We're not using the textbook charts. So to fulfill that part of the report, we say the effect size was large, and then report the exact value for Cohen's d. Research hypothesis was supported. Now we'll report the assumptions. The assumption of homogeneity of variance was met. So I'm reporting Levine's p-value, 0.166. The assumption of normality was violated. So we're reporting the test of normality, Shapiro-Wilks. The p-value was low, right? Less than 0.05. So it's a violated assumption. And then I just say, however, this test is fairly robust to violations. And finally, reporting the power, which in this case rarely is, as in, I mean, it is rare to see this. We have a power with 100%, a study with 100% power. And that is that.